The Emperor's arena was louder than a storm as thousands of aliens shouted from the stone seats. Waiting for blood, waiting for fear, waiting for the next warrior to fall. The air was thick with dust and the smell of metal. And in the center stood a giant black cage. Shaking, groaning, almost breathing on its own. Everyone knew what was inside. Everyone feared it, the Emperor's beast. The creature no warrior had ever survived. The creature that had crushed champions, burned soldiers, and snapped the strongest fighters like they were nothing. When the cage finally opened, the entire arena fell silent. The beast stepped out slowly, its massive shadow stretching across the sand floor. Its body was covered in dark plates like armor, its eyes glowed like fire. And every breath it took made the ground tremble. The crowd leaned back, afraid even from far away. On the other side of the arena, a tall warrior in gold armor waited with a long spear. He had trained his whole life for this moment. But even he was shaking, the Emperor raised his hand. Signaling the fight to begin, the warrior shouted and charged forward. Trying to look brave, but fear controlled his steps. The beast did not roar, it did not move, it only watched. Silent and cold, and then, in one sudden moment, it leaped with unbelievable speed. The warrior had no time to defend. The beast slammed him to the ground with a single strike. The spear flew from his hands, and the crowd gasped as the warrior lay still. Dead before he even understood what hit him, the Emperor stood up angrily. His voice echoed through the arena as he shouted that the warriors of the Empire were useless. He demanded someone powerful, someone worthy, someone who could make the beast bow. But everyone looked away. No one dared to step forward. No one wanted to be the next body carried out. Far from the arena, in the busy marketplace of the capital, a human single father named Eren walked quietly with his small daughter, Mira. Eren was tired, his clothes were old, and his face showed years of struggle. But his eyes stayed soft whenever he looked at his daughter. He had traveled a long way with her, searching for work, searching for a safe home, searching for a place where she could grow without fear. Today he came to the Empire hoping for a new start. He held Myra's tiny hand as they moved through the crowded streets, trying not to get in anyone's way, but fate had other plans. A group of guards suddenly surrounded them. The guards were large, armored, and already angry. They believed Eren was trying to enter the arena without permission. One guard grabbed him roughly. Mira tried to hold on to her father, but was pulled back by another guard. She cried, calling his name. Eren begged them to stop, explaining he was only looking for work, but the guards did not listen. They dragged him through the city while Myra ran behind, tears falling down her cheeks. When the guards entered the arena with Eren, the Emperor's sharp eyes noticed the scene immediately. A frightened little human child screaming for her father, and a weak, ordinary man being pulled onto the sand floor. The Emperor smiled a cold smile. A dangerous smile. He liked watching humans suffer. He liked the crowd's reaction. He liked the idea of entertainment mixed with cruelty. "Put the human inside the arena," the Emperor commanded. "Let my beast decide his fate." The guards froze for a moment. Even they were shocked. No human, no man, no soldier had ever been thrown into the arena without training. Eren looked at the Emperor with fear and confusion. Mira screamed louder, trying to run to her father. But the guards held her tight. Eren reached his hand out toward her, his voice cracking as he called her name. The crowd cheered wildly, excited for another death, excited for a new show. Eren was pushed forward, stumbling onto the sand. His heart pounded, his legs shook, and he realized he had no weapon, no armor, no way to survive. The gate of the monster cage began to rise again. The arena fell silent for the second time that day, and as the shadows of the beast stretched toward him, Eren looked back one last time at his daughter. His fear turned into something else, something stronger, something fierce. He whispered to himself, "I have to survive." For her, the beast stepped out, its burning eyes locked on the human father. And the impossible story began. Aaron stood alone on the hot sand, his bare feet trembling, his hands shaking, and his heart beating so fast it felt like it might break through his chest. The sound of the beast's heavy steps echoed across the arena, each step slow, powerful, and full of deadly promise. Dust rose with every movement, and the crowd leaned forward, hungry to watch the human father's final moments. They whispered to each other that this fight would not even last 10 seconds. To them, Aaron was already dead. The cage behind the beast clanged shut, locking it out in the open. The creature's huge shadow stretched across Aaron's body, swallowing him in darkness. Its eyes glowed bright orange. Burning like two small suns, its breath came out in long, angry bursts, making the sand shake under Aaron's feet. Aaron wanted to run, but his legs refused to move. Somewhere behind the guards, he heard Mira screaming for him. Her tiny voice broke something inside him, turning fear into a desperate kind of courage. Aaron lifted his hand slowly, showing he was not a threat. The beast tilted its massive head, confused. It was used to warriors charging at it, screaming, swinging swords, fighting for their lives. But this human man did nothing. He stood still, breathing hard, his eyes full of something the beast had not seen in a long time: sadness, honesty, and a strange kind of strength that did not come from muscles. The emperor watched from his golden throne with sharp curiosity. His eyes narrowed when he saw the beast hesitate. He leaned forward and hissed to his advisors, "Why does it not attack? Why does it look at the human like that?" The advisors had no answer. No warrior had ever made the beast pause. Not even for a second. Aaron slowly stepped back, not to escape, but to place his body between the beast and his daughter. Mira reached her small hand toward him, tears falling. Aaron whispered softly to her from across the arena, "It's okay, I'm here." "Don't be scared," the crowd murmured in confusion, wondering why the human was talking calmly while facing certain death. Even the guards looked uncertain. The beast moved closer, its massive claws dragging lines in the sand. It lowered its head and sniffed the air near Aaron. The heat from its breath washed over him like a furnace. Aaron did not fight, did not scream, did not raise a weapon. He simply looked into its burning eyes and whispered, "I'm not your enemy." The crowd gasped at his bravery or his stupidity. Something inside the beast shifted. A faint memory rose from deep inside its tortured mind. A soft voice from long ago, a gentle hand touching its injured paw. A human voice saying, "You're safe. Don't be scared." The beast blinked slowly, confused by the memory that no longer matched its world of chains, pain, and blood. But the scent was the same. The feeling was the same. The kindness was the same. The emperor grew irritated. "Kill him!" he shouted. His voice thundered through the arena. The beast flinched but did not attack. Instead, it stepped sideways, blocking the view of the guards who were holding Mira back. Its massive body stood between the child and danger, for the first time in its violent life. The beast acted not as a monster but as a protector. The crowd erupted in shock. Some shouted that it was weak. Others whispered that a miracle was happening. The emperor slammed his fist on the armrest, furious that the beast dared to disobey him. His eyes darkened with rage, and he ordered the guards, "If the beast will not kill the human, then kill the child." The arena froze. The crowd gasped. Aaron's heart nearly stopped. The beast's roar exploded like thunder. The sound shook the walls, sending birds flying from the rooftops outside. The guards stumbled back, terrified by the sudden fury. The beast towered over Aaron, but not as an attacker. It stood like a shield, blocking arrows, blocking orders, blocking death itself. Aaron looked up at the creature, his fears slowly fading. Something in its burning eyes had changed. It was no longer just a beast, it was something broken. Something searching. Something remembering. Aaron whispered again. "You're not a monster," the beast blinked. And for the first time in years, its rage trembled like a dying flame. The Emperor's face twisted with anger. He had lost control. Something impossible was happening. A human single father had made the Empire's deadliest creature hesitate. And this was only the beginning. For a long moment, the arena stayed silent. So silent that even the wind seemed afraid to move. The beast stood in front of Aaron, breathing heavily. Its huge body tense but not attacking. The crowd didn't know what they were seeing. Some whispered that the beast was broken. Others whispered that the human must be using some kind of forbidden magic. But Aaron knew the truth. He felt it in the creature's trembling breath. It was afraid too. The beast slowly lowered its head. Its burning eyes studying Aaron closely, it sniffed again. As if trying to confirm something impossible, Aaron did not step back. Even though his legs felt like they would collapse. His daughter Mira was still crying behind the guards. And he knew he couldn't die, not here, not like this, not while she needed him. So he kept his voice calm and soft as he whispered to the monster, "It's okay. I won't hurt you." The beast's ears twitched. A strange sound escaped its throat. Not a growl, not a roar, something softer. Almost confused, it took another step. Lowering itself until its face was only inches from Aaron. Aaron felt the heat of its breath. The tremble of its pain, the weight of its memories. The creature blinked slowly, and in that blink, a picture flashed inside its mind, a memory. A human hand holding a small bowl of water. A young human voice saying, "You're safe now. Don't cry." The beast saw itself small. Hurt, bleeding, trapped in a net years ago. And a young human boy trying to help it. Feeding it, healing its wounds, keeping it warm at night. The beast remembered feeling safe for the first time in its life. It remembered trust, comfort, hope, things the Emperor had beaten out of it long ago, and the scent. Yes, the scent, this human father in front of it. Smelled the same. The crowd watched as the beast's enormous head gently touched Aaron's chest. A gasp spread through the arena like a wave. No warrior had ever been close enough to touch the beast and live. But this creature leaned forward like a wounded animal seeking comfort. Aaron slowly raised a shaking hand and placed it on the beast's face. The giant creature closed its eyes, accepting the touch. High above them, the Emperor rose from his throne in shock, his face twisted in anger. He slammed his fist on the railing, shouting, "No! This cannot happen. That thing belongs only to me." But the beast's reaction had already spread like fire through the crowd. Whispers became louder. People stood from their seats. Pointing, questioning, wondering. Aaron felt the creature's pain through his hand. He felt the scars under its armored skin. The heat of old wounds, the tremble of fear. "What did they do to you?" he whispered. His voice was soft, but the beast responded, letting out a low, heartbroken rumble. As if answering him, Aaron could not understand the sound. But he understood the feeling. This creature wasn't born a monster. It was made one. Behind them, Mira tried to pull away from the guards again. Screaming for her father, the beast suddenly turned its head. And its glowing eyes locked onto her small figure. Its pupils widened, not with rage but with recognition. It stepped toward her, but Aaron gently touched its jaw. Stopping it, the beast listened, lowering itself again. This obedience shocked even Aaron. The guards dropped their weapons, stepping back in fear, not knowing what the beast would do next. The Emperor's anger grew hotter. He hissed to his handlers, "Something is wrong with that creature. It remembers. Break its mind again. Get the chains." But before the handlers could move, the beast let out a thunderous roar. Its voice echoed across the sky, shaking the arena walls. The roar wasn't for the guards, it was for the Emperor. A warning, a challenge, a declaration of freedom. The Emperor froze, realizing the truth. This was not simple disobedience, this was rebellion. Aaron looked into the beast's fiery eyes and whispered, "Someone was kind to you once. Wasn't he?" The beast lowered its head slowly, almost like a nod. Aaron swallowed hard, understanding more with every moment. Perhaps that human boy from the beast's memory was someone the Emperor had taken away. Someone the beast had lost, someone it still mourned, and now, seeing Aaron with the same scent, the same calm voice, the same gentle hands, the creature's soul had awakened. Something ancient, something desperate, something loyal. Aaron placed his hand on the creature's face again and quietly said, "I'm here. You're not alone." The beast's chest rose sharply. Its breath shaking, its massive body leaned closer to him, trusting him in front of the entire empire. And somewhere deep inside, a bond formed, fragile but powerful, the human father and the Emperor's beast. Their connection was real, and it was only growing stronger. The Emperor had ruled the empire for decades, and never, not even once, had the beast shown disobedience. The creature had been his greatest weapon, his symbol of fear, his living tool of control. But today, in front of thousands of witnesses, that same beast stood beside a simple human father, protecting him like a loyal guardian. The Emperor's face burned with rage, and his voice cracked the air like a whip. "Kill the beast. Kill the human. Kill the child," he screamed, spitting each word like poison. The crowd gasped, shocked at the cruelty. Even they had never seen the Emperor lose control like this. His voice shook with desperation. And that desperation showed the truth he tried to hide. He was terrified, not of the human, but of what the beast, remembering its past, might mean for his rule. Down in the arena, Aaron felt a chill run through him as the Emperor's soldiers rushed forward with chains, spears, and lightning staffs. The beast moved in front of Aaron, its giant body forming a shield. Its deep growl vibrated through the ground, rattling the metal weapons in the soldiers' hands. Aaron looked up at the creature and whispered, "You don't have to fight them." But the beast already made its choice. It spread its legs, lowered its huge head, and roared at the approaching soldiers. The soldiers hesitated. But the Emperor screamed again, "Do it now. Drag that creature back into chains." His voice echoed with fear and anger. His eyes twitched as he watched the beast protect a human. Something he had never imagined possible. Something he never wanted to see again. The first group of soldiers charged, swinging their spears toward Aaron's chest. But the beast slammed its massive tail into the sand, sending a wave of dust and wind that knocked them off their feet. The crowd erupted in shock as bodies flew through the air. The beast's glowing eyes locked onto the next set of soldiers, daring them to come closer. Aaron quickly grabbed his daughter Mira by the hand as the guards lost control of her. She stumbled into his arms, sobbing loudly. Aaron hugged her tightly, whispering, "It's okay, I'm here, behind them." The beast turned its head and let out a soft rumble, as if checking to make sure the child was safe. This moment, this gentle, protective gesture sparked something explosive in the arena. People stood from their seats, pointing, whispering, shouting. A monster showing love? A beast protecting a human child? Nothing like this had ever happened in the Empire's history. But the Emperor did not see miracles. He only saw danger. He slammed his hands on the throne's railing, screaming, "No! No! No, that creature belongs to me. It listens to me. Not a human. Never a human." His voice cracked with madness. His advisors stared at him, horrified at how unstable he had become. The Emperor pointed at the beast and shouted at the Beastmasters, "Use the shock rods. Break its mind again." The Beastmasters raised their black rods, glowing with blue electricity, the moment they activated them. The beast reacted instantly. It roared loud enough to shake dust from the highest seats. Its entire body stiffened with pain. Its legs trembled as the electricity struck its scarred back. Aaron saw the beast flinch, saw the fear return to its eyes, and felt anger burn in his chest. "Stop! Stop hurting it!" Aaron shouted, stepping forward without thinking. He placed himself between the beast and the shock rods. Mira grabbed his shirt tightly. Begging him not to go closer, the soldiers laughed coldly, raising the rods higher as they prepared to strike again. But this time, the beast did not freeze, did not collapse. It snapped the chains that still hung from its sides and surged forward, knocking the shock rods out of the Beastmaster's hands. The rods flew into the air, sparks scattering like falling stars. The beast let out a roar of pure rage, not from pain, but from the memory of years of torture, and the fear of losing the only beings that ever treated it with kindness. The Emperor now understood the truth. He no longer controlled the beast. He no longer controlled the arena. He no longer controlled the fear he had built his power on. He took a step back, whispering in horror, "This cannot be happening. Not again. Not after all these years." His hands shook, and for the first time in his rule, the Emperor looked afraid. Aaron placed his hand gently on the beast's face again, and the creature lowered its massive head in trust. Mira stood beside her father, staring at the beast with wide eyes. Her tiny voice whispered, "It's protecting us." The arena watched in stunned silence, realizing something no one had ever believed possible. The Emperor's beast had chosen a side, and it chose the human father and his child. Not the Emperor, not the Empire, not fear. This choice changed everything. The arena was no longer cheering, no longer hungry for blood. The crowd had become silent, confused, shaken by what they were witnessing. A beast that once killed without mercy was now standing like a wounded guardian beside a human father and his trembling child. Nothing made sense anymore, and for the first time in years, fear was not coming from the beast, it was coming from the Emperor himself. Behind the chaos, an old man slowly stepped forward from the shadows near the arena gates. His back was bent, his hair white, and his eyes filled with deep sadness. He wore the simple uniform of a caretaker, someone no one ever noticed, but his steps carried purpose. Trembling yet determined, the guards tried to stop him, but he raised a shaky hand and whispered, "Let me through. I know the truth." Something in his voice made even the guards pause. Aaron saw the old man walking toward them and gently pushed Mira behind him. The beast lowered its head, sniffing the old man with curiosity instead of fear. The old man lifted his wrinkled hand and touched the creature's snout. The beast froze, its glowing eyes widening in recognition. A low, soft sound came from its chest, a sound strangely close to sorrow. The Emperor's face twisted. "Stop him! Remove that old fool from my arena." He shouted, but it was too late. The old caretaker had already spoken words the entire empire needed to hear. His voice, though soft, echoed clearly across the arena. This beast was not born a monster. The crowd gasped, whispered, leaned forward. The Emperor shouted again for the guards to silence him. But the beast suddenly stepped in front of the caretaker. Blocking anyone from approaching, the guards froze in terror. Afraid to move, the old man continued, his voice breaking with emotion. This creature was once gentle, peaceful, kind. He looked directly at the Emperor. "And you turned it into a weapon." The Emperor pounded his fist on the throne. "Lies. All lies." But the crowd could hear the fear in his voice. Aaron listened carefully, confused but hopeful. "What do you mean?" he asked the old man. The caretaker took a slow breath, his eyes misting as memories returned to him. "I was there," he said. "I cared for the beast when it was young, when it was captured from the wild as a tiny cub." He paused and looked at the beast. "Back then, it was smaller than your daughter. Gentle as a leaf in the wind." The beast lowered its massive head. pressing it against the old man's shoulder. As if remembering those days, the caretaker whispered, "It was the Emperor who ordered it to be tortured, starved, beaten, until its mind shattered, until it forgot everything except pain." Gasps spread across the arena. People buried their faces in their hands, horrified. The Emperor barked orders. But the beast roared so loudly that no guard dared to move. The old man pointed at Aaron and said, "But this human father, he carries the same scent as someone the beast once knew." Aaron froze, confused. "Someone it knew?" He repeated softly. The caretaker nodded. "Years ago, before the Emperor took full control, a young human boy lived among our workers." His voice shook as he continued. "He found the beast when it was injured, and he helped it, fed it, cared for it." The beast let out a soft rumble, like a mourning sound. The caretaker whispered, "That boy was the only friend this creature ever had." Before the Emperor separated them, Aaron felt his heart tighten. He had no memory of such a boy, but the old man's words carried truth. The caretaker looked deeply into Aaron's eyes. "Maybe you are not that boy, but you have the same spirit, the same scent, the same kindness." He placed his hand on the beast's scarred face and whispered, "That is why it listens to you. That is why it protects you. That is why it remembers." Aaron swallowed hard, emotion building in his chest as he looked at the creature. Its glowing eyes softened as it looked at him and Mira. The beast gently lowered its massive head near Mira, who reached out with her tiny trembling hand and touched its snout. The beast closed its eyes, a deep breath escaping its lungs like relief, like comfort, like finding something it had lost. The crowd murmured louder, moved by the scene. Some cried. Some clenched their fists in anger toward the Emperor. The truth had broken the illusion of the Empire's power. The Emperor, now pale with fear, shouted, "Enough! Kill them all. Kill the beast. Kill the humans. Kill the old man." He pointed his shaking finger, but the soldiers hesitated. For the first time, they questioned their orders. The caretaker stepped back, whispering to Aaron, "You must run. You must escape with the beast and the child. The Emperor will destroy all of you." Aaron nodded slowly, fear and determination mixing in his heart, and as the beast stood tall beside him, Aaron realized the truth completely. This creature was never the Empire's monster. It was its victim, and now its protector. The Emperor's voice cut through the arena like a blade, sharp and filled with panic. "Kill them. Kill all of them." He screamed. The order exploded from his lips before he could stop himself. His face was red, his eyes wild, his hands trembling. The crowd had never seen him like this, the fearless ruler, now afraid of a human father and the creature he once controlled. But the soldiers did not move at first. They looked at each other, uncertain. Their training told them to obey, but their hearts hesitated. The beast stood like a living mountain protecting Aaron, Mira, and the old caretaker. Its glowing eyes burned with fury and pain, and its rumbling growl shook the ground beneath their feet. Even the bravest soldiers took a step back. Then everything happened at once. The Emperor pointed at one soldier and roared, "You! Strike them now, or lose your life." The terrified soldier lifted his spear and charged forward. His steps trembled, his weapon shaking. The beast reacted instantly. Its massive tail whipped across the sand like a falling tree, slamming into the soldier's chest and sending him flying into the stone wall. He fell unconscious before he even hit the ground. That was enough to shatter the soldiers' fear. They formed a circle around the beast and the humans, raising spears, chains, and electric shock rods. Aaron pulled Mira close, his arm wrapped protectively around her small shoulders. His heart raced so hard it felt like thunder in his chest. The old caretaker whispered urgently, "You must run now. The beast will follow you." Aaron looked at the giant creature, unsure if escape was even possible. The beast was huge, heavy, and injured from years of torture. How could it protect them and escape the entire army? But the beast leaned down, nudging Aaron gently with its head. Urging him to move, Aaron understood. He nodded, grabbed Mira's hand and whispered, "Stay close to me." Then the beast roared, a roar so powerful it shook dust from the arena walls and made every soldier flinch. In that single moment of distraction, Aaron ran. He sprinted toward the broken section of the arena wall where the shock rods had earlier scorched the stone. Mira kept up with him, clutching his shirt, eyes filled with fear but trusting him completely. The caretaker tried to follow, but a group of guards grabbed him, dragging him backward. "Go!" he cried. "Go! I'll slow them down." Aaron looked back, torn. But the beast pushed him forward with its head, urging him to continue. Soldiers screamed as the beast charged after Aaron, smashing through anyone who got too close. Its claws dug into the sand, its body moving with unstoppable force. The crowd panicked, running in every direction. Some shouted that the emperor had lost control. Some shouted for freedom, some cried in fear. The entire arena fell into chaos, and the emperor's voice was drowned under the roaring panic. Aaron reached the far wall and climbed the broken stones with Mira in his arms. His muscles burned, but he didn't stop. "Hold on, sweetheart," he whispered. "Just hold on." Mira wrapped her arms around his neck, trying to be brave even as tears soaked her cheeks. Behind him, the beast leaped with incredible force, slamming its massive body into the wall, cracking it open further. Stones crumbled, falling like rain as the beast climbed through the gap, protecting Aaron and Mira from falling debris with its armored back. They broke into the open streets of the capital. People froze as they saw them. A human father carrying a terrified child, a massive beast following like a loyal guardian, soldiers chasing behind them, and the emperor's furious voice echoing from the arena, "Stop them! Stop them now!" Aaron ran through the crowded streets, knocking over market stalls, dodging carts, pushing through shocked citizens. The beast followed closely, smashing through anything in its path, not harming anyone except the soldiers trying to attack. A group of elite guards blocked the main road with heavy shields. Aaron skidded to a stop, out of breath, trapped. Mira clung to him, trembling. "Dad, what do we do?" she whispered, before Aaron could answer. The beast stepped forward, its massive body lowering. Muscles tensing, with a deep, echoing growl, it charged, smashing through the shield wall like it was made of paper. The guards scattered, dropping their weapons and fleeing. Aaron did not waste a second. He ran again, following the beast as it cleared the path ahead of them. But the emperor's army was endless, and horns echoed across the city, signaling reinforcements. They were being hunted. The sky darkened as smoke rose from warning towers. The chase grew heavier, faster, more desperate with every step. Mira's small voice trembled. "Are we going to die?" Aaron lifted her chin gently, breathing hard. "Not today. Not while I'm alive," the beast roared in agreement, standing protectively over them, glaring at the soldiers coming from every corner of the city. Escape or death, those were the only paths left. And they had no choice but to keep running. Aaron ran until his legs felt like they would break. But the soldiers kept coming from every street, their armor shining, their voices echoing. Mira held tightly to his neck, her tiny heart beating fast against his chest. The beast ran beside them, its huge body bleeding from dozens of cuts. But it didn't slow down, it kept pushing forward, roaring at every soldier who dared to come near. They were running not just for freedom, but for their lives. Ahead of them stood a high cliff overlooking a deep river valley. The ground sloped downward sharply, and a cold wind brushed across their faces. Aaron skidded to a stop, panting. He stared at the drop, then back at the soldiers closing in from every side. There was nowhere left to run, nowhere to hide. Mira looked at him with big teary eyes. Dad, are we trapped? Aaron held her close. No, he whispered softly. I will never let anyone hurt you. His voice shook. But it was brave, real, and full of the love that kept him moving. The beast stepped forward, placing its massive body between the family and the approaching soldiers. It lowered its head, growling fiercely. Its eyes burned brighter than ever, but Aaron saw the exhaustion in them. Saw the pain in its shaking muscles. This creature had given everything to protect them. And now it stood ready to die beside them. The Emperor arrived on a tall armored horse. Surrounded by elite soldiers, his robe flowed behind him like a dark storm. His face twisted with hatred. You think you can defy me? He shouted. That beast belongs to the Empire, and you, he pointed at Aaron. You are nothing but a worthless human. Mira flinched, but Aaron stood tall, even with trembling legs. I may be human, he said loudly, but I'm not worthless, the Emperor laughed. But his eyes were filled with fear. He raised his hand. Archers, kill them all. Hundreds of archers lifted their bows, arrows pointed at Aaron. Mira and the beast. The air grew still. The world holding its breath, the beast roared. Stepping in front of the family, ready to take every arrow if it meant saving them. Aaron grabbed Mira, shielding her with his body. The Emperor's hand began to fall, but then the impossible happened. Aaron stepped forward and placed his hand on the beast's face, the same way he had done in the arena. Look at me, he whispered. His voice was soft but strong. The beast opened its glowing eyes and stared at him. Trembling with pain and fear, Aaron's voice shook as he said, We won't survive by fighting. You have to trust me. Like you did before. Something changed in the air. The beast's breath slowed, its eyes softened. Aaron took a deep breath and whispered, Kneel. The beast lowered itself slowly, trembling, bowing its massive head before the human father. Everyone, soldiers, citizens, even the Emperor, froze in shock. A creature of nightmares bowing to a simple man. A monster obeying a father with nothing but kindness. Humanity had done the impossible, the Emperor screamed. No. It obeys me. His voice cracked with madness. Kill them now. But a soldier stepped forward and shouted, Your Highness. The beast is not obeying you, another soldier whispered. Maybe we were wrong about the monster. And the human. A ripple spread through the ranks. Soldiers began lowering their weapons, confused, shaken. The Emperor raised his sword. I command you. Fire, fire. But no one moved. Their loyalty was breaking, melting under the truth they had witnessed. Aaron raised both hands and shouted, This beast is not your weapon. It's a living being you tortured for years. Look at it. He pointed at its scars. This is what your Emperor did. Murmurs turned into anger. Citizens began stepping forward, yelling at the Emperor. Soldiers backed away from Aaron and the beast. Some even pointed their weapons at their own ruler. The Emperor's face turned pale. You dare betray me? He screamed, but fear had finally broken his throne. He tried to flee, but the beast rose suddenly. Releasing a roar filled with pain and justice, the Emperor stumbled backward and fell. And the soldiers seized him. Aaron picked up Mira, holding her close. Tears fell from her eyes, but this time they were tears of relief. The beast lowered its head gently toward them, as if asking if they were safe. Aaron placed his hand on its jaw, whispering, Thank you. You saved us. For the first time in its life. The beast let out a soft, peaceful sound. It was free, not because of strength, not because of fear, but because a human father showed it kindness. The Empire would rebuild, but never again with chains and cruelty. And the story of the human single father, who did the impossible, would be told for generations.